My dear brothers and sisters, sometimes Allah speaks to our hearts not through loud miracles, but through quiet moments, a silent night, a tired heart, and suddenly, a small creation of Allah curls up beside you and falls asleep. You may think it is just a cat, but Islam teaches us that nothing happens without wisdom. So today, let us reflect when a cat chooses to sleep next to you. What could it mean in the light of Islam? Islam views cats with gentleness, respect, and compassion, recognizing them as part of Allah's creation that deserves kindness and care. Unlike many cultures that associate animals with superstition or impurity, Islam establishes a balanced and dignified perspective. Cats are considered clean animals, and their presence is not regarded as something that brings impurity into a home or place of worship. This understanding is rooted in authentic teachings, where it is mentioned that cats freely moved among people and were not treated as a nuisance. Their closeness to humans was accepted, reflecting Islam's ease and mercy. In the time of the Prophet, cats were commonly found in homes and even around the mosque. This itself teaches a powerful lesson. Islam does not promote harshness toward animals, nor does it encourage unnecessary barriers between humans and the rest of Allah's creation. The Prophet spoke gently about cats, describing them as creatures that live among us and interact closely with people. This shows that Islam values harmony between humans and animals. Islam also strongly emphasizes mercy toward all living beings. Treating a cat with kindness is seen as an act of compassion that carries spiritual reward. At the same time, cruelty toward animals is severely warned against, reminding believers that accountability extends beyond human interactions. Caring for a cat, feeding it, or simply allowing it to rest peacefully reflects a heart that understands mercy. Through this view, Islam teaches that faith is not limited to rituals alone, but is reflected in everyday behavior, even in how one treats a small, silent creature like a cat. Mercy and Rahmah are at the very heart of Islam, shaping how a believer views Allah, people, and all of creation. Allah introduces himself as our Rahman and Ar-Rahim, reminding us that mercy is not a small attribute, but the foundation of our existence. Every breath we take, every moment of ease we experience, and every form of comfort we feel is a reflection of divine mercy surrounding us in ways we often overlook. Islam teaches that mercy is not restricted to grand actions or dramatic gestures. Sometimes it appears in the simplest and quietest forms. A sense of calm after anxiety, unexpected comfort during loneliness, or a gentle presence that soothes the heart are all manifestations of Rahmah. Allah places mercy in moments to heal hearts without words, reminding us that He is closer than we imagine. The Prophet taught that those who show mercy will be shown mercy. This principle extends beyond human relationships to include animals and all living beings. When a person experiences tranquility through the presence of a gentle creature, it can be a reminder that mercy flows through Allah's creation. Such moments soften the heart, reduce anger, and bring emotional balance, which is itself a form of blessing. Rahmah also teaches believers to slow down, reflect, and become more compassionate in their behavior. A merciful heart is patient, forgiving, and aware of the feelings of others. When Allah places mercy in your surroundings, it is often an invitation to reflect that mercy outward. In this way, Rahmah becomes a cycle. It descends from Allah, touches the heart, and then spreads through actions, words, and character, transforming both the individual and those around them. Cleanliness and purity hold a central place in Islam, both in physical practice and spiritual meaning. Islam teaches that purity is not limited to outward cleanliness alone, but it also reflects a state of ease, balance, and mindfulness in daily life. Acts of worship are connected to cleanliness, yet Islam never makes religion difficult or burdensome. Instead, it establishes principles that are practical and compassionate. Within this framework, Islam recognizes certain animals as clean and harmless, and cats are among them. Their presence does not compromise purity, nor does contact with them create hardship. This teaching reflects the mercy of Islam, showing that religion is meant to fit naturally into human life, Cats live closely with people, move freely, and interact with households, and Islam acknowledges this reality without attaching unnecessary restrictions. Cleanliness in Islam also teaches believers not to develop obsessive or extreme attitudes. Balance is key. Purity is maintained without fear, exaggeration, or discomfort. This approach nurtures inner peace, allowing believers to focus on sincerity, humility, and connection with Allah rather than constant worry. When Islam affirms ease in matters of cleanliness, it protects the heart from anxiety and confusion. Beyond the physical aspect, purity is also a reflection of the heart. Just as Islam encourages clean spaces and bodies, it also calls for clean intentions, clean speech, and clean character. When one learns that Allah values simplicity and ease in purity, it becomes a reminder that faith is meant to be lived calmly and confidently. Through this understanding, cleanliness becomes not only a requirement of worship, but a pathway to tranquility, balance, and spiritual clarity in everyday life. Emotional healing and inner peace are deeply valued in Islam, as the heart is the center of faith, intention, and sincerity. Islam acknowledges that human beings experience sadness, anxiety, loneliness, and exhaustion, and it does not dismiss these emotions. Instead, it offers comfort through remembrance of Allah, patience, and trust in divine wisdom. Peace of the heart is not always achieved through dramatic changes, but often through gentle moments that calm the soul. Allah brings healing to hearts in ways that are sometimes unexpected. A quiet environment, a feeling of safety, or a comforting presence can ease emotional burdens that words cannot. Islam teaches that Allah knows what lies within the hearts, even what is unspoken. When tranquility enters a person's life during a time of emotional strain, it is a sign of care and attention from Allah, reminding the believer that they are not alone. The heart finds rest when it feels safe and understood. Small, peaceful moments can soften grief, reduce stress, and restore emotional balance. Islam encourages believers to appreciate these moments and recognize them as blessings rather than coincidences. Such calm experiences help the heart slow down, reflect, and reconnect with gratitude and hope. Emotional healing in Islam is also connected to mercy and compassion. When the heart experiences peace, it becomes more patient, forgiving, and gentle toward others. This internal calm strengthens faith and resilience, allowing believers to face challenges with steadiness. Through these quiet forms of healing, Islam teaches that peace is not the absence of problems, but the presence of trust in Allah and the reassurance that He brings ease after hardship. Even in subtle and tender ways, responsibility and kindness are essential values in Islam, shaping how a believer interacts with both people and all living beings. Islam teaches that every trust given to a person is an amana, and this includes the care of those who are weaker or dependent. Whether it is a human being, an animal, or the environment, responsibility is not optional. It is part of faith and accountability before Allah. Kindness in Islam is not limited to grand acts of charity. It is reflected in everyday behavior, in how one treats those who cannot speak or defend themselves. Showing care, patience, and gentleness toward animals is a clear expression of a compassionate heart. Islam strongly warns against cruelty and neglect, reminding believers that even small acts of harm are seen by Allah. At the same time, simple acts of kindness carry immense reward. Responsibility also means awareness. When a creature places its trust in you, it becomes a test of character. Providing safety, food, and comfort is not merely an emotional gesture, it is a moral duty. Islam teaches that accountability extends beyond visible actions to intentions and attitudes. A person who is mindful of this responsibility develops humility and gratitude, understanding that strength and authority are never meant to be abused. Through kindness, hearts soften and faith deepens. When a believer acts with mercy, it strengthens their connection with Allah and purifies their character. Responsibility in Islam is therefore not a burden, but an opportunity to grow spiritually. By practicing kindness consistently, a believer reflects the values of mercy and justice, transforming ordinary interactions into acts of worship, and drawing closer to the pleasure of Allah. Signs, not superstition, expand it in 250 words, but don't add subtitle and conclusion. Islam teaches believers to reflect deeply on life while firmly rejecting superstition. There is a clear distinction between taking lessons from events and assigning hidden powers or predictions to them. Islam protects the believer from fear, confusion, and false beliefs by affirming that knowledge of the unseen belongs only to Allah. No object, animal, or event has independent power to bring harm or benefit outside of His will. At the same time, Islam encourages reflection. Believers are taught to observe the world as a place filled with reminders of Allah's wisdom, not signs that dictate fate. When something happens in daily life, it is not meant to be interpreted as a prophecy, but as an opportunity to think, improve, and turn back to Allah. This balance keeps the heart grounded and the faith pure. Superstition often leads to anxiety and misplaced trust, where people begin to fear harmless events or rely on symbols instead of Allah. Islam firmly closes this door. It teaches that comfort, protection, and success come only from Allah, not from omens or signs created by the mind. By rejecting superstition, Islam frees believers from unnecessary fear and emotional dependence on false meanings. Taking lessons, however, is encouraged. A peaceful moment can remind a believer to be grateful. A gentle experience can inspire kindness and reflection. These are not predictions of the future, but reminders to improve the present. Islam trains the believer to interpret life with wisdom, not fantasy. Through this understanding, faith remains strong, intention remains sincere, and the heart remains attached to Allah alone, confident that all matters return to Him and unfold according to His perfect knowledge and decree. My dear brothers and sisters, Islam teaches us to live with awareness, balance, and reflection. It does not fill our lives with superstition, nor does it strip life of meaning. Instead, it invites us to see Allah's wisdom in the ordinary moments that often go unnoticed. Whether it is mercy placed in our hearts, peace sent during emotional struggles, or gentle reminders through Allah's creation, everything carries a lesson for the one who reflects. We are reminded that kindness is not small, responsibility is not optional, and purity is not meant to be a burden. Islam shapes a believer who is calm, compassionate, and conscious of Allah in every aspect of life. Even the simplest interactions become opportunities for growth, gratitude, and self-correction when viewed through the lens of faith. Above all, this reminder brings us back to one essential truth. Our hearts must remain attached to Allah alone. We take lessons, not predictions, reminders, not fears. When we respond to life with mercy, wisdom, and trust in Allah, our faith becomes alive and meaningful. May Allah grant us hearts that reflect, souls that find peace in His remembrance, and actions that are filled with kindness and responsibility. Ameen.